Every year, Formula One racing provides adrenaline junkies with the most exciting races on Earth, and this season did not disappoint. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton each had a season to remember that was filled with incredible athleticism and controversial moments that will haunt the sport forever. Now it seems like somebody's about to feel the harsh consequences that came with this season's controversy. You're not going to want to miss this video because we have some crazy news to break to any real fan of F1 racing. First up, the craziest season in F1 history. For those of you who somehow forgot the treat we were given this year in terms of F1 racing, let me remind you about some of the drama that we got to see unfold in this year's racing season. Max Verstappen drove like an absolute madman for Red Bull all season, working very hard to cement his spot as the first place driver headed into the final 4 Grand Prix. Verstappen was constantly being chased for the spot at the top by legendary Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton had raced well all season, but let a few races get away from him, thus allowing Verstappen and Red Bull to have the top spot. Hamilton needed to win all 4 of the remaining Grand Prix if he wanted to win, and Hamilton ended up defying the odds and won 3 straight races, which meant that Verstappen and Hamilton were exactly tied in terms of points, as they had both won the same amount of races and the pair only had a single race left. That meant that the winner of that final race would be crowned the F1 champion of 2021. The drama was increased in all 3 races as something controversial happened in each of them. Verstappen and Hamilton had a collision in Italy. Verstappen was fined due to breaking pre-race rules. A very controversial turning maneuver by Verstappen was also putting the pair under constant scrutiny as well, making the final race a race for the ages. Technically, if neither Hamilton or Verstappen finished the race, then Verstappen would take the win for the year due to him having a tiebreaker scenario. This led some fans to believe that Verstappen would do the unthinkable and purposefully crash into Hamilton to ensure that he could not finish the race and secure his victory. But of course this didn't happen, but something even crazier did. Next, how Verstappen secured his victory. Verstappen had won the pole and was graded the first place position to start the race, and Hamilton had come behind him, giving Verstappen the initial advantage. However, this did very little for the Red Bull driver, as he found himself trailing behind Hamilton early on in the race. Verstappen continued to drive well, but just could not find a way to get past Hamilton. Hamilton ended up having one of the best races of his career, and had distanced himself enough from Verstappen to make it appear as though Hamilton was going to pull off the 4-race comeback. Until the unthinkable happened. A crash occurred on a portion of the course that was nowhere near the rest of the race, and the cleanup crews would have had enough time to clear the wreckage before the rest of the group had made their way to the site. But race director Michael Masi decided to put out a warning car and force the race to be stopped, and instead of resuming everyone where they were in the race prior to the crash, he instead moved everyone up to the same position, which just happened to be the final lap. However, just prior to the crash, Verstappen had pitted for a tire change and was equipped with a brand new set of tires, but Hamilton did not, as he was in the process of protecting his lead. So when Hamilton's lead was erased in a matter of seconds by a bad call by the race director, he honestly stood no chance in a 1-lap sprint against a freshly pitted car. Verstappen ended up winning the race, despite being behind Hamilton for practically the entire race. Fans were furious and demanded that the director of the race, Michael Masi, be fired for his horrific officiating. At the time, he faced no discipline, but it appears as though that will no longer be the case, as we have just heard that Masi will be removed from his position as an F1 race director. Next, Hamilton gets a very small consolation prize. Hamilton and Mercedes both demanded changes be made to the system to ensure that something like this never happens again. And if F1 did not cooperate, it looked as if Hamilton would not return to F1 ever again, which would have been a terrible look for the organization and the sport as a whole. F1 held a summit recently to disclose the information that Masi had been removed from his position and somebody else had been chosen to take his place as race director. The summit was proposed and organized by the F1 after some rather eye-opening audio was found between Red Bull and Masi, in which Masi was clearly pressured into bending the rules to allow for Verstappen to at least have a chance at this year's title. The summit was attended by both Red Bull and Mercedes, and the new rules were clearly laid out for both teams to ensure a scenario like this one never happens again. However, the rules don't actually change all that much, because it was not the set of rules that were the issue. It was the fact that the perfectly fine rules were completely and utterly ignored by the director of the race. But why were the rules bent? Why did Masi feel the need to give Verstappen a chance at the title at all? Why give Verstappen a life preserver? Verstappen was well behind Hamilton, and it appeared that Hamilton was going to take a relatively easy win as he had amassed a huge multi-lap lead over Verstappen and the other racers. However, the rules were completely overlooked in order to give Verstappen a shot at winning, in which he took full advantage of and won. But why? Why would they even consider doing this? Well, this is the first time in a very long time, and first time since the new point system, that the top two racers had been tied for the lead at the end of the season, resulting in a winner-takes-all final race. Obviously, this was an amazing circumstance for F1, as this situation was every fan's dream. One race for all the marbles between the two best racers in the world, the veteran chasing a record in Hamilton and the up-and-coming young buck looking for his first title. It was truly a scenario that will likely never happen again, and it was F1's dream. The world was watching this drama unfold, even by people who would regularly never even care about racing or vehicle sports at all, and F1 knew that they needed to capitalize on these circumstances. Obviously, the world was split on who they wanted to win the race. It seemed like older people who wanted Hamilton to win, as they recognized his name and wanted to see him break the record, and it seemed like younger people wanted to see Verstappen win, as he was the bright, fresh face that related to the younger audience. But which result would be more beneficial for F1 and its bottom line? Well, obviously, if Verstappen wins, then all these new fans who got swept up in the hype of F1 will get to see their newfound favorite racer win a title for the first time, potentially sparking a lifelong fandom of F1 and racing in general. The more people F1 could ghetto latch onto the sport, the better. So when the director gave Verstappen such an obviously unfair opportunity to win the race and title, people began to question the integrity of the sport and racing in general. People began to look back at other races and see that F1 may have been orchestrating some behind-the-scenes work to ensure that Verstappen and Hamilton ended up tied heading into the final race, as they knew that it would make this year an incredible must-watch sporting event in hopes of increasing their fan base. While it may have done that by allowing Verstappen to win, it certainly alienated a great number of fans who just want to watch the race and don't care about all the drama off the track. Most fans want to see the integrity of racing kept intact without director interference. And this year's finale is making some fans question the integrity of F1. This is likely why F1 is taking action against Masi now instead of the day of the race, and it's a shame they waited so long to do so. And that's all we have for you guys today on the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. What did you think of this year's F1 season? Did you like the added excitement and drama, or would you rather the races be untouched and just allowed for the best man to win the day? Do you think that F1 did this on purpose, or was this just a bad call by one director acting alone? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like on the video and to subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on so you never miss a single upload from us. Thank you all once again, and we'll see you in the next video.